Hello, Terry here, Hot Wrench Fabrication. Welcome back to my channel. And if you've been watching, I got the 06 Prerunner over here. This is part 3 of this series. Gas neck is going in, and got to do some wiring, got to do my trailer plug, and then some sheet metal work inside and kind of cover up some of that ugliness. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this series, and we'll get it going. All right, this is the next plan of attack here. Looks like, well, it is a fast fuel system, and I would assume this is all kind of a stock bracket. It looks pretty heavy duty. Obviously, this is kind of tweaked a little bit, and then his fenders have been beating the crap out of these filters.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
Pretty sure you would have noticed that. All you have to do is just raise this back up. So I'll loosen that up, raise it up, and then probably just tie in another bracket onto here so it can't do that again. Or it can even weld this. And then I need to figure out what to do with this little mess here. Plastic on here. Hopefully this is metal. Maybe. No, it's probably plastic too. So I have to get a cap and make all that stuff and have it come out the side of the bed. That would have been a pain in the butt because this truck sits really high. You have to get over the top of the side rail to get your fuel in there. But I'll see what I come up with. All right, that's much better. So just straightened up the bracket that was on there. It was pulled all the way down to the bottom. You see a little slot down there. So I raised it up a couple of inches and then just made this bracket right here. I already had a hole down there on that bracket for the springs, and then drilled 2 more holes over there. All I have to do is do a little grinding, clean it up a little bit, slap some powder coat on there, and it should be good. But yeah, it'll be a lot stronger. Oh yeah, that's solid now. That ain't going anywhere. So cool to take an old rusty scrap piece of metal, a couple of bends, a couple of holes, cut it, clean it, and powder coat it, bolt it on, all in one shot. So super strong now. That's all it takes. One little piece of metal and a couple of holes in there. Now we're going to get on to this. I made this little bead rolling contraption, and that's to put these little beads on the end of your hoses when you're using rubber hose. You don't want that to slide off. Usually make that when you're dealing with like pressure, like turbo piping and stuff like that. But this is all for the gas tank that I'm making, gas neck. But I figured since I have it, I might as well use it and put a little bead on there. But basically that goes into there, tighten up this handle, and then you have to turn both of these at the same time. So it would have been better if I had some way to gear all this together, but I just made this with a bunch of junk I had laying around, so it's not bad. It's kind of cool. It works, at least. They do make these obviously for sale, and they're relatively inexpensive, but the reviews on some of the ones I was looking at, they don't do very thick material, and they're kind of rough on like stainless steel and stuff. And I do a little bit of stainless steel work, so I said I'd just make my own, and I don't know, it's all right. I'll show you how it works. All right, so first thing I did was just tighten this up with the little bolt on top. And then I gotta turn both of these. And that's gonna run right in there, so I'm gonna have to grab a wrench instead. All right, so one trip around is all it takes. And you can see, nice little bead. I could put less pressure on there or a little bit more, or I can keep going, but I don't want a whole lot of pressure on there. I just wanted to do kind of a small bump on it, just to give it a little bit. Pretty clean. Does nice, whoops. Does a pretty nice job. And then this piece goes right in here. Thusly. Oh yeah, see, it's a little bit harder to push in. Basically goes right in there. And the second piece will go right up in there. You can see I already made a couple marks on there, so I gotta shorten this side up and then weld that together. And then we'll have a neck on there. Pretty easy. And then the neck that's going in there. This is the neck I'm using. A little aftermarket deal. Pretty nice. Nice size. And then that's going to go right in the side there. So we'll figure all this out, where it goes, and then drill a hole. Well, that turned out pretty cool. Still have to drill the holes. Make those straight. Either put two on top, one on the bottom, or that way. Doesn't really matter, as long as they're even. And then on the back here, this little tube goes right down to the gas tank. So I have to put another tube in here. This is for the vent, so that the gas tank can, when you're filling up with gas or diesel, you have to have a vent. So this goes back up into here. And then this one over here, this is the fast system. See the nice little, I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of dark. Yeah, a little rip right there. That thing's about to rip diesel all over the place. anyway, that one goes back into this tube also. So I have to just put 2 little pipes in there, and then I'll powder coat it, slap my clamps on there, and then this will be done. So turned out really cool. So it came with this bracket. This is so you can weld this onto something, but I'm gonna use this bracket as a backer because this is just fiberglass. So I'll put this behind there and then sandwich them together with some screws. So that'll be good. Almost done. Looks very nice.
Wow, it's very nice.
Well, that turned out pretty good. This is the regular vent for the gas tank. That one turned out pretty good. So I used the silicon bronze welding wire, which is just a lower melting point. It's not structural per se. It's not going to be super strong, but it flows really nice and it welds pretty good. And then this one is the part of the fast fuel system. So just put that back on there, but yeah, turned out nice. Let's go put it on. All right, so this part is done. I still got to get the filters for it, but at least this part is on. Nice. And all of the hoses are on there. Just got to obviously tighten that one up. Good newer hoses are on there, so yeah, looks good. And then what am I doing? This guy right here, that'll go on from the outside. And I have this bracket right here, so that'll sandwich it in between the fender, and then that should look pretty nice. So we'll get all that put on. Man, that is perfect. Look how nice all that fits. Goes right in there. Got all my hoses hooked up. My vent is on the other side over here. And then this is the return from the fast. It's all nice. Nice and strong. Perfect.
Everything has to be perfect.
Thank you for joining me on part 3. And we have another video coming out soon.